so there's a couple of things. So I really like apprenticeship. I think it's one of the most underused training models that we have. Apprenticeship is, sort of a terrific earn and learn model. You don't train people for jobs that don't exist because they're in jobs and they're being prepared for the job that they're going to be going to. So you address all of those issues that I was just mentioning in terms of people getting not only just the technical or in classroom kinds of skills, but also sort of the work behavior and communication skills, et cetera. So I think, and you address some of the issues that I was mentioning earlier in terms of people not having economically stable lives. People start with a job, right? So it's a win on so many fronts, and it's well tailored to employers' needs. One of the challenges we have with apprenticeships is really the financing incentives are not tremendous. And in some states, and I mentioned when we were talking earlier, South Carolina, they've really been trying to incentivize more to work with companies to get them to think about this as an approach. And I think South Carolina has been fairly successful with that. I know there are community college people in this room, so this may not sound really great, but I mean, it's not really great to sort of put all the public money in the training that's very divorced from the employment situation, and none of the public money in the situation that's really highly connected to employment. And I think it's trying to figure out what's the right hybrid model to encourage these much more connected training programs that are really connected with employment and with the industries that are going to sort of grow our economy. How do we incentivize that? And so that's where I think what South Carolina has done is really interesting in trying to think about what are some incentives that make this kind of a better buy for their employers. I think the other thing that I've also done a lot of work with is sort of organizations that run pre-apprenticeship programs. And pre-apprenticeship programs really try to help people prepare. Apprenticeship is by and large, a really rigorous process, right? You're working, you're going to school, oftentimes after hours, and you should have a good idea going into it that you actually want to be in this industry, that you want to work that hard, and that you really want to make a career there. And pre-apprenticeship programs both give the students a chance to think about that, and to do some initial learning and prepare to be successful in an apprenticeship. And so that makes it more likely, again, on the investment end, if you place somebody in, that they're ready, that they're likely to stick. It's a national problem in apprenticeship that you do have a fairly significant, it's not unlike community colleges, but you do have a fairly significant non-completion rate of apprenticeships. And that's a real loss. So trying to minimize that loss through a good pre-apprenticeship program that gets people well prepared, walking in, eyes open, knowing that this is something that they want to commit to, is also another really important model in apprenticeship education that can help make that much more successful.
We agree that internships or apprenticeships are critical for the pathway. And at Itawamba Community College, we've partnered with industries, and we have a program now we call it Advanced Manufacturing Technician, which is the industrial maintenance program. And our students come in and they go to school 2 days a week, and then they get a paid internship in their field at an employer. Now, and they make good money. The internship currently we have about 27 people in it, and they make $16.50 an hour the first semester in. When they complete the internship, they're at $19 an hour, and they're eligible to go to full-time employment with the companies. Now, we've taken this to the next level with our partners, and with Clay Walden at the CAV Center, we wrote a grant called the Make America Great, and there were 10 awards in the country. And it was a partnership between the Mississippi Partnership, the Delta Partnership, Holmes Community College, East Mississippi, and Mississippi Delta. And what this is going to allow us to do is to put paid internships in those community colleges supported by WI and the CAV Center. So we think the future of skill development is internships, that real-world experience. It also gives you a great avenue to address dislocated workers. Because I've been working in a furniture factory for 20 years, and I got to have good skills and things, and I want to go back, but I got to have some money. Well, if you have a paid internship, they can go to school while they're working.
Great. What I would like to do now is to encourage you all to start jotting down your questions. Get ready to take the mics in a second. I'm going to pose one closing question to our panel to give you a little time to formulate your thinking. But broadly, I just want to ask, and again, I want to kind of put you on the spot to say, if we're really going to fully engage the broad educational sector in along with their other priorities, really working towards a workforce development, a labor force that's ready for the jobs of the future. What are some of the things that we really should be focusing on now? What are if you had to pick one or two things, what should we be really looking at to engage education in getting a population ready for the future jobs?
In our world, there are two things that we have got to do for the future. It's partnership, where we break down silos, where we use the resources to solve the problem. And the next thing is innovation. It's innovation in your company. It's innovation in the classroom. It's innovation in the renovations. If you want to know about innovation, go out to the website and look at Doug Hall, Innovation Engineering. It is what's going to change this country. And so the kiss of death is we've never done it that way. And what we have done through legislation, and a lot of times, is created such walls that we can't partner. K-12 has a terrible time partnering with the community college because of all the rules they have to follow. They even have a rule now that says when you have to start school. You can't start school before a specific date. Now, how would you like to work in that environment? It's very, very difficult to follow the rules and change. So we need to take some of the rules off, get people in the room thinking, get the partners, knock down the barriers, and have innovative solutions. There are solutions out there. This country can do great things. We just got to knock down the barriers and get the people in the room and measure the outcomes.
I don't think I can add to that, James. What do you think? I agree. I concur. I do think, you've got, it's the partnership. It's the private sector. It's K through 12. It's the colleges. It's breaking rules. How many of y'all like to break rules? I love to break those rules. Some of those rules just don't make sense. And I will tell you, you've got to work together with our semester. In Georgia, we have the semester system with high schools. We have the Pathways program, too, working with our university system and our technical schools. So you have to get the people in the room. I do think this, I will say this, I think the long-term solution has to be community-based, locally driven, okay? You will not sustain change over time depending on Washington, Atlanta, or Jackson, Mississippi to get the funds. You've got to do it at a local level. You've got to embrace it because governors change, commissioners change, but when you get in there with something that actually works, it brings benefit to all concerned, it will be sustained, okay? The community, the people of the state will demand that it be done, okay?
Yeah, I don't know if I have a whole lot to add, but I did want to say on the locally driven, I also think it has to be locally driven because it's just not going to look the same from place to place. You're going to make different choices, you have different resources, you have different industry mixes, you have different issues within your communities, and you're just going to come up with different solutions. And so I guess the other thing I would say is, definitely look around your state, look around the country for new ideas, but bring your imagination to the task, right? And really think outside, I started sort of saying, I think outside the walls of the institution, and definitely continue to do that. The partnerships, I couldn't agree more, are incredibly important. And I think, just thinking about, for education systems in particular, getting outside the frame of we have fall semester and winter semester, right? Companies aren't saying, oh, right, you take that month off between, December 15th and whenever you start up again in January, right? I mean, this is not, so thinking about how can we do things differently? And I guess the thing I also would add is, since nobody's brought it up yet, is technology, right? I think that there's some really exciting things that people can do with technology. I'm not generally somebody who says it's going to solve all our problems, but I think there's lots of things we can do with technology that can make learning more accessible, can make it easily more, better timed, that you can deal with people who are sort of at different skill levels and do sort of different kinds of, address different skill levels at the same time within a classroom if they need sort of the human dimension to that, as well as, doing it asynchronously. Anyway, there's lots of things with technology that I think does open up a world of possibility in thinking about different ways to design things. So I guess just, be imaginative, and I guess I would say break some rules too, but.